As a dragon drawing artist, I get a lot of questions about my process, such as what software I use, Clip Studio Paint, how long I've been drawing for, just under a decade, and whether I will draw their OC doing a back handspring but make sure I get no details wrong, including all the spots around their spine, to which I say absolutely not. Another frequent object of inquiry is how to defeat same face syndrome. Same face syndrome is when all your characters' faces look similar no matter what. Even though dragons do not have flat faces like humans, you can still get same face syndrome drawing dragons. That is especially a problem when you consider how many unique dragon tribes Wings of Fire has. If your SeaWing looks like a blue MudWing, a lot of people are going to be confused and attempt to call you out for having an unrealistic OC. So today, I'm going to be going over some quick fixes to make your dragons look unique. In order to prove how big of a difference small changes can make, I'm going to be using this bust base for every single tribe. Alright, we are going to be starting off with the SandWings. First of all, let's just create a basic base around this. Horns, I typically draw the horns going up and ears like this. And that leads us to the first trait, the jaw stabby thing. I have no clue what it's called, but there's a horn here in canon. I often don't draw it because I hate details. The nostril, I use a slitted type. I have two types of nostrils I like to use for dragons, slitted, which is like this, and circular like this, but I will get into that later. And jaw, typical hooked thing. And then for this, I like to draw flatter than the other dragon tribes. Now we have the basic shape, so what can we do to make it look more unique? We have this very simple idea, which not a lot of people actually do, which is just making the eyes black. A lot of people draw the sclera as white, even though SandWings have black eyes. You can just make the sclera black and make them look different from all the other dragon tribes, besides for IceWings, which also have black sclera. No clue why I drew the pupil in there, just to look cute. Another thing you can do is you can style the mane like hair. I'm bad at drawing hair, so I'm just gonna maybe draw a braid. I guess this works, but like, you get the idea, just use the hair as braids. Another interesting part of making the hair look like braids is how would they actually do that? Like maybe they would cut off and cut up parts of their mane thing so that they could braid it, which in my opinion would probably be incredibly painful. But that's just a slight headcanon based off of the design idea that I have. Now we're gonna undo all the braids and stuff for the next idea that I have, which is totally not ripping off hoodwings by just giving them a cobra hood. Just give it a cobra hood here. You can even have it wrap around into the flesh like this. I am totally not ripping off hoodwings doing this, and I've seen a lot of people do this one because, you know, they already have a rattlesnake pattern, so why not bring it to the extra level by giving them a cobra hood. Another thing that the rattlesnake pattern thing reminded me of is giving them a rattlesnake type tail. This could be an interesting little thing to do if you do not want to give your OC that typical SandWing tail. Next up, we have SeaWings, and SeaWings are a much heavier tribe than the SandWings, which makes them pretty different from the last tribe. I like giving them curved horns and big ears. However, since they're an aquatic tribe, you can also just give them little lizard holes like that if you want to. And as I was saying about the nostrils, they get circular type nostrils, a small little detail that just helps it stand out. And then for the face, you're going to want to do a fatter face, so more circular like this, forgot the ear somehow. And for the neck, I like drawing SeaWings a bit fatter as well, so I'll just do it like this. I'm not the best at drawing fat dragons and fat characters, which is something that I'm going to work on, as well as drawing humans, of course. Here are some things that you can add to make your SeaWing look different from this basic shape. You can give them the little barbell things that fish have and canon SeaWings have. I've seen some people only give male SeaWings them. I've seen people give both genders them. It's something that really gives them a unique silhouette. Another thing that I am absolutely stealing from Mars Lowell is giving them exulto-like gills on the side of the head. Sort of like this, but less dumb looking. And the final tip that I have is giving them colored gills. So you take their gills and then you color it in the same color that you're coloring in their ears and stuff. And that just adds a pop of color and makes you see the gills better and see that they're actually a SeaWing better. Next up, we have SkyWings. They have a flatter skull type, so let's just make that flatter. They have a little horn on the end of their snout as well, and they have the hooked type nostril. They also have horns on the side of their jaw. I do not like coloring them in, so I just draw them like that. And for the horns, I like to give them the gazelle-like horns. And if I really wanted to give it even more gazelle-like horns, I could do it like this. It's just something inspired by Haseo Sahel, if you remember them. And this is the basic shape of my SkyWing heads. Much more aerodynamic than a SeaWings. And then they have a skinnier neck. SkyWings have the longest necks in the series. I mean, have you seen Scarlet's neck on the cover of Escaping Peril? I don't really have a lot of ideas for the SkyWings and how to make them look unique, other than just giving them a flatter skull shape. So I'll just say that sometimes I like to give them spades on the end of their tails, and that's it. Next up, we have MudWings, and the first thing that you're going to notice about seeing a MudWing is that they have thick jaws, but just make them even thicker. MudWings need to be like walking tanks. And because of that, they get a very circular head shape. And they also get the same type of nostril that SeaWings have. My MudWings look a lot like SeaWings, so I've thought a little bit about how to give them unique ears and stuff, and unique traits that can make them stand out. One thing that I've seen a lot of people do to make their MudWings stand out is just give them tusks, sort of like a pig. And another thing is to give them cow-like horns. That probably isn't the best, but you get the idea. I've seen some people get them like ogre-like ears, like from Shrek. I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. And, oh, didn't give this guy a fat neck. I also give my MudWings very fat necks. And so this is just a rough MudWing idea. Next up, we have the RainWings. Like the SkyWings, they have a very thin head design with a horn on their muzzle, like so. And let me just fill in the details here real quick. And so let's get on to things that can make your RainWing look different. Number one, giving them fangs. They already have fangs in canon, just make them even more prominent. Number two is, let me draw the horns here, and let me draw the ear. Giving them different shaped frills. A lot of people like to stick to the classic dragon / batwing shape, but you can make them shaped differently, like hearts, or similar to my OC Datura, you can have them be wave patterned / petal patterned, and it adds a bit of also like aesthetic to your character. You're able to see their personality better. For example, a character with this type of whatever it's called frills would be more energetic, and one with down frills would be more calm and serene. Another large thing that you can do to make a difference is make your RainWings feathered. I do not know how to do a feathered pattern, so I hope this sort of like conveys it. The beta RainWing design actually had feathers, so I stole that from there. And it makes the RainWings sort of look like Quetzalcoatl, if you know what that is. And those are my RainWing ideas. Next, we have the IceWings. The IceWings also have a very flat head shape with a big horn. Oh wait, I'm doing something with the horn, so let me just leave that barren. Eyes, slitted nostrils. They actually are a bit closer to the top of the head, but it looks weird in my style, so sorry about that. And then this, and then this. Actually, I think I draw more. Yeah, I draw like this. And then here goes the neck. When it comes to IceWing horns, I've seen a lot of variety in them from fandom. I've seen people draw deer horns, draw antlers, and things like that, Arctic dwelling creatures. This is my terrible attempt at drawing antlers. Let me try again. As you can see, your first attempt at drawing everything will not be very great, but that's what improvement is for, and that's what branching out and looking at references are for. Another idea for making your IceWings look at least a little bit different from the other tribes is the same thing as the SandWing tribe. Just give them dark sclera. They also have black eyes in the guide, but no one draws them like that because they forget, and I forget frequently. I also sometimes forget that they have blue blood, even though that's one of the major things about them. Another common headcanon I've seen for IceWings I've done before is giving them some fluff. A common headcanon is that IceWings are born fluffy, whether that be fur or feathers, and then they grow out of it as they age. I think that's a really cool headcanon, and it also could help you design a different silhouette from the other dragon tribes. And finally, we are on to the NightWings. They have a pretty average head and skull shape, pretty blocky in my opinion. I don't really have many ideas for NightWings, so I'm sorry if you're a big NightWing fan. I do not have many tips for you, besides just making them look more like bats. You can give them big bat ears like this, I guess. And you can also give them a bat-like nose. Bat noses protrude a lot out from the skull. Sort of like this. I've seen a lot of people draw them like that, and I think it looks really cool, and it's reminds me a lot about the graphic novel style and how they look there. And that's literally all the tips I have for NightWings. I just don't have a lot of ideas for them. Now we are done with the Pyrean tribes, but before we move on, it's time for me to introduce the sponsor of this video, Parplo. Parplo is a tablet company, and they sent me an Intango X7 to use and review. I've been using it for around a week, and this video was made drawing on it. Overall, it's a pretty decent tablet. The pressure sensitivity is very customizable. There are different presets for different devices, like phone, tablet, and Chromebook, which is very convenient. There isn't that high of a learning curve. I got used to drawing on it in under a day. It also works with dual monitors, which some tablets struggle to do. The biggest flaw with the tablet is that it lacks a Bluetooth mode, so in order to use it, you need to have it continuously plugged into your computer. It also does not work with iPads and iPhones, so if you have an iPhone like me, you can't use it, but you can use it with Android and other types of phones and tablets, and you can use it with your Mac or other type of computer. If you're looking for a tablet on the cheaper side, I would recommend it. It's only around $60, which is shocking considering its quality, and you also get a hand glove, screen wipe, and extra pen nibs when you get it. My older tablet came with none of that. Let's get back to the video. We are moving out of my area of expertise into the Pantalian tribes, so please take my suggestions with an incredibly small grain of salt. I'm not a professional artist, so you should always take my opinions with a grain of salt, but I'm just not the best at Pantalian tribes. You'll see. So just take that in mind. Next up, we have the HiveWings. They are honestly my least favorite tribe to draw because of the big horn protruding from the middle of their skull. It's very hard to draw and hard to look natural, and every single time I draw it, I cringe. They also have the slitted nostril type. They have a pretty average head shape, just like the NightWings. And let me draw a neck here, and the horns. I feel like HiveWings should have a pretty diverse horn shape considering they're a newer tribe and they're the product of a tribe that has horns that look like this and the tribe that has horns that look like this. And they also likely have at least some LeafWing ancestry and their horns are very curvy and things like that. So just play around with the horn shape for them. A common headcanon I see is that they're fluffy, just like little worker bees. And that's it for HiveWings. Next up, we have the SilkWings. I like to draw them with what I call a horse jaw. It sort of goes like down, up like this, or rather like this. It's pretty unique looking compared to the way I draw other tribes, and I feel like it most closely resembles the tribe and how it looks in canon. Tui can't go 1 second without calling them beautiful, so I'm going to give them a Habsburg jaw, I guess. So this is a base SilkWing, but it's missing something. It's the antenna. You could either draw antenna realistically, or you can draw it stylistically like this, or like this. I've drawn it 3 ways during my time as a Wings of Fire artist, and I honestly just settled on the realistic type at this point. You can also give the SilkWing fluff just like a HiveWing. Those SilkWings are not based on bees like HiveWings. They are based on moths, which are also pretty fluffy. And those are all my ideas for the SilkWings. Last and actually least, because I have literally no ideas for them, I have the LeafWings. I give them a similar jaw shape to the SilkWings, a little bit less pronounced and a little more solid at the end, if this will allow me to go correctly. I like to draw their horns very curvy, or at least like looks like it has a twist because I draw lines like that. And an idea that I have for them is giving them a feather-like leaf coating. It sort of just looks like leaves if I could draw. I don't really know how to draw a leaf pattern on a dragon. That's a very specific thing that I've never really studied. And it honestly is meant to look somewhat similar to the RainWings leaf pattern because I have a very strong headcanon that the RainWings and the LeafWings are somewhat related. They can both photosynthesize, etc., etc. Well, actually, the similarities end there. They live in a rainforest and they can photosynthesize, so obviously they're the same type of dragon. You can also give them the little spine things, and if you want to, you can make the spine things sort of like hair, or like this. Give them a little comb over or something. And those are all my ideas for LeafWings, and all the ideas that I have for your tribes making different from each other in general. Did this video give you any ideas to help your same face syndrome, and do you have any more ideas of how to make your tribes look more different? Comment them down below. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who are already subscribed, thank you so much for your continued support. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.